Thank you all for being here today. We're really excited my name's Karen Edwards, by the way, and we're really excited to be talking about technology and the roofing life cycle, sponsored by our friends at Jobba Trade Technologies and FCS Roofing Software. Um, our guests today are John Kenney and Zach Carpenter. And before we get into introductions, I just want to go over a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to open the chat after I turn it over for John and Zach to introduce themselves. But this is being recorded and it will be available on demand, usually within 2 days. So by the end of the week, it'll be available on Roofers Coffee Shop so that you can share it or watch it later again, or share it with somebody that you think would benefit from seeing this information. Alrighty, so let's get going. John, you get us started by introducing yourself and telling everyone a little bit about you.
All right. Well, it's always good to go first, I guess.
Mhm.
I'm always glad to be here. My name is John Kenney. I'm currently the CEO of Cotney Consulting Group. We're a business consultant to the roofing industry. We do a lot of training, a lot of one-on-one work, group training, online training. But where I come to the background, I always like to tell that because it makes a big difference to where we're at today, is I was a roofing contractor for 45 years. So I began as an apprentice on the rooftop all the way up to running in the firms. I did started in the Northeast and worked all over the country. So luckily today I get to enjoy sitting back and doing fun things like this and working with the industry. So thanks for having me once again.
Yeah, it's always great to have you here, John. You bring such a variety of, knowledge, because you've been doing it so long, and we so appreciate you being here and being part of this conversation. Alrighty, Zach, go for it.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, so I've been in the commercial roofing software industry about 16, 17 years now. My technical title is senior account executive, but I wear many different hats. I work with our existing clients. I help onboard new customers, and take a focus on our marketing and revenue and business development. So a little bit of everything over here at Jobba Trade Technologies.
Yeah, and the one thing that both of you bring to the table is that you do work with contractors every day across the country,
Oh
even in
yeah.
Canada. So, you've got a pulse on what's happening in the industry. And I want to talk about the growth of service and maintenance, what you all are seeing, and kind of what's going on in the industry right now. And John, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, so I think how has service and maintenance actually changed over the years? That's like the first thing I always like to look at. And I remember definitely it was more of a patch and repair, right? That was the whole mindset of the industry was get her done, get a leak fixed, let's get back to putting roofs down. And over the last even 20, 30 years almost, started in the 90s and pushed into the current era we're in, people are starting to realize that it's much, much more than just fixing a leak. Fixing a leak is what a roofer is expected to do. So now we've moved more in to that understanding it's a profit center, relationship center, a growth modular for your business. So we've moved away from just understanding it as a patch and repair, get her done division. Now it's really coming into a total profit center within a roofing company itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And Zach, I'm sure you've been there a long time as well. And
Oh yeah.
you've seen shifts, and you've seen, probably that same shift. And that's why technology is so important, because it's helping contractors grow and expand from patch and repair
A
into that
hundred
full.
percent, a
Yeah.
hundred percent. And a big trend that I've seen recently, is residential contractors that are trying to get into commercial service and maintenance, and they see leaders in the industry that have built out these service and maintenance programs and service contracts, maintenance agreements, and everyone kind of wants a piece, as the economy kind of slows down, roof replacements slow down, and how can a roofing company still maintain business year round and maintain revenue year round? And service and maintenance is that answer. And so, I've just seen a lot of companies want to transition to it, or even commercial companies that have just focused on new construction, or different models that want to adopt service and maintenance programs. So I think the introduction of it has probably started, probably 5, 10 years ago is when it really, the idea started catching fire. But as of the last 2 or 3 years, it's been everyone kind of bull rushing into how do we do service and maintenance? How do we figure this out? And, which is leads into like we're about to talk about the importance of having a software that supports these models.
Right. Yeah. Before we move to that step, I want to talk a little bit about the current climate
Yeah.
right now, because like I said, you guys talk to contractors every day. What are people saying? I mean, how are you seeing them saying, "Hey, I gotta expand into service and maintenance because I'm slowing down." And, it's winter anyway in most parts of the country, unless you live in Florida, like John,
Mhm.
who they can roof pretty much all year round. So, what are you seeing? What are you hearing from contractors? And are they talking about expanding and diversifying their offerings? John, do you want to start?
Sure. So, definitely seeing a lot more interest or movement into going into the repair and maintenance buildup. Overall, throughout all the states, there's still contractors that are doing very well with backlog beyond January. All right, they're still there. But I would say the bulk of the industry, and let's look at it as a segments, which is so cyclical to how things always go. New construction slowing down, and there's no denial of that. That's on all fronts, which normally happens after a big boom. Re-roofs are there, but guess what the key is? When you have a really well-oiled service machine, and that's why people are looking at it, re-roofs really fall into line after that. So I think overall nationally, I'm seeing a lot more growing interest in how do we do this right.
For sure. Zach, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that completely. Like I said, the just the trends, residential has been a big thing, not to circle back to that too much, but residential guys wanting to get into commercial. And yeah, I mean, with winter approaching too, it's people trying to figure this out. And there's luckily there's ways we can help people do this, right? There's, people are navigating trying to get this service and maintenance going, and we have options for people.
Yeah, are we seeing more building owners wanting to look to service and maintenance to try to prolong the life of their roof instead of replacing it?
I see it drastically. I was just on a call this morning where, they manage an entire school district, and they have an approach right now of just we don't have the money to do roof replacements right now. Let's get a maintenance plan. Let's do everything we can to prolong this. And that's where these type of customers need to be able to lean on their contractor as more than just a patch and repair, more than just a commodity, of help giving them a direction, help them come up with budget plans, help them come up with different options that they can do to prolong these roofs. So I would say I see it big time. I talk about it every day.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the importance of roofing specific software because there's a lot of software out there that'll do a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
things, but they're not all really built for roofing. So, Zach,
correct.
get us started about that with that.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, like we were talking about this residential transition, there's a lot of great residential software out there, as one example. And a big difference between it, though, is residential roofing software is just focused on one-off jobs. They're really not built to do service and maintenance and manage the relationship with the customer and their buildings, right? It's just about job after job. So, on top of it being a roofing specific software, you need a software that matches your business model. Commercial roofing softwares like ours are targeted at managing the asset. So having a customer that has a building and have the history of that building, documenting all the existing issues on the building, budgeting and forecasting for that building. It makes all of the difference. You can't get what you need in terms of data out of systems that aren't made for it. And so there's a big need with that. And having roofing specific programs, I have a lot of my customers that will try and make, just generic software work. There's options these days. That's a big thing. There are tons of different software out there, but the time and effort that it takes to go and try and convert just a generic system to make it roofing specific, you're a roofing company. You're not a software company. You don't have people on staff that are going to sit there and build out all these fields or design all these workflows or write all these SOPs around a generic software. So it's all around. In order to pull this off, you got to have a program that matches your business model too. And there's other commercial roofing softwares. I don't, not to name them, but there's construction-based roofing softwares out there, right? That are, again, really good at helping with job management, but that do nothing for you on the service and maintenance end, or bridging the gap between the field and the office, or help with photo collection. You've got to have not just an industry specific program, but a program that matches your business model.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And John, sorry, I muted you, so I'm gonna have to ask you to
There was a little
unmute.
echo.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there was a little echo or something going on. So
No
yeah,
problem.
yeah, no problem. I'd love to hear what you have to say about the importance of making sure it's roofing specific.
Yeah, so we first of all look at our industry, and like I've always been able to look at it this way, and I talk about this. Construction itself is unique within the business world. There's no doubt about that. But within the construction world is where we fit, and roofing is by far totally unique from the way other construction companies or other subcontractors have to operate. So when you're trying to take something like a software or a process or a SOP that's written with these softwares that's outside of our world and adapt them into roofing, it becomes a super hard challenge. And it's easier to find a software like we're talking about today that's adapted to the way the roofer thinks, the way the roofer needs to operate, and to keep yourself profitable and moving ahead. So if I was going to start a service division or expand upon it, and I pick something outside of the roofing world, I'm really off to a very not good start because that's going to be geared to, say, HVAC, plumbing, or other aspects. And we just operate different. There's nothing wrong with that. We just need to do what's best
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we called this webinar "Technology in the Roofing Life Cycle."
Yeah.
So maybe Zach, you can get us going with explaining what the life cycle is for service and maintenance.
100%. And this life cycle concept is actually the foundation of where our software came from. We designed it around this business model that effectively says that when you look at a private negotiated commercial roofing department or company, that everything should start with an initial roof inspection. You need to go out and you need to assess the asset and put together an inspection report. Well, that report on its own is only so meaningful. You know, you just hand it to a customer and whatever, they may look at it, they may hand it to their contractor. You need to go into the next phase, which is we call it budgeting, and it's really collaboration. Taking that inspection report and sitting down with the customer, trying to get on the same side as the desk with them and reviewing that information. Like we talked about earlier, they need help, they need plans. You need to present to them, this is what we think we can do to extend the serviceable life of your roof. And from that budgeting and that collaboration and in that relationship building, it should very naturally lead to service and maintenance opportunities and repair work. And as you do that and continue to build the relationship and build trust and become, their roofing department in a sense, that will lead to, when a replacement is necessary, that it's a no-brainer that the job goes to you. And then once you take that roof off and put a new one on, you got to go out and do your quarterly or biannual inspections in order to maintain the warranty and keep the maintenance agreement and programs in place, and the cycle starts over. And then you help them budget and you service and replace and so on and so forth. So the way we've designed our software is in line with this life cycle model. Are the programs sold in pieces so that you could, if you've already got inspections and budgeting figured out, you can enter at the service stage. And, it's just the way we have the program laid out that's very conducive to this business model, so that you can either take a company that is wanting to get into the commercial industry, or someone that's already been in it, and follow these steps and follow the way the software operates, and you're going to be successful. Because the key to this is this life cycle model is what the most successful contractors in the country and in the world, it's the way they run their business is based on this model. And you'll even hear contractors use the life cycle phrasing. It's very popular that this is the life cycle of a successful, privately negotiated, focused commercial roofing business.
Yeah. So no matter what phase you're entering
Right.
the situation, say you're doing the roof replacement, the roof
Yep.
is shot, they're replacing the roof. You can come in at that stage and start that cycle then
Exactly.
again. So any just I know we didn't talk about this part, but any thoughts on, I'm sure there's contractors out there who install the new roof and they say, here's your warranty packet, and they
Yep.
see you later, right? Any suggestions or tips for how to get that service and maintenance agreement
Yeah.
following that new roof install?
Well, and I know John will probably have a lot to add to this too, but to me, the obvious one is most of these warranties these days require a maintenance agreement in place in order to maintain the warranty. So, offering that maintenance agreement, someone's going to have to. So, hopefully you have the sense enough to have these programs in place to where it's going to be you that offers it. Because if it's not, again, someone's gonna. So you got to position yourself for it to be you.
Yeah. Yeah. John, anything to add there?
Yeah. So, first of all, I want to jump backwards for 1 second on this. We're talking about the life cycle.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of goals that a roofing contractor has to actually put into plan and operation every day to be successful. But we all know if you've been in it long enough, you're going to run through cycles of the economical status, right? Where we're at, the way the economy rolls. There's good times, there's bad times, it's up and down, it's valleys, it's peaks, it's all that. But what this life cycle model does, it makes a roofing contractor actually as close to being recession proof as you possibly can be in the roofing industry.
Does.
So that's a big key. So this is a good model to follow. And then jumping ahead to the question that you asked about maintenance agreements, if I'm a contractor and I do a healthy portion of even new construction work, which there's nothing wrong with that, that's your business model. Where this comes in is get in front of them after it's done. You've got a 2-year agreement with any manufacturer you're giving them warranty to. That's a 2-year maintenance agreement right there that you can tie into your own program.
Yeah.
And the biggest mistake that I find, whether it's on a new roof you're doing down or going in and trying to sell a maintenance agreement on an existing roof that's not ready for re-roof, but it needs some work done to it, is we don't show the owner their return on investment. We go in with the attitude of you need to buy this. It's kind of like going into an electronics store, an appliance store. Oh, this is an add-on you must have. People don't buy that in the commercial world. But when you can show them return on investment in the partnering aspect of why this is worth them to get involved in, then you're successful.
Yeah, I like that example because I always turn down the extended warranty. I'm buying a new TV. You want that added protection for this much money? No, I don't want that. But TVs are pretty cheap, unlike commercial roofs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit then about, how to find success with that life cycle roadmap.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I think that leads into just like John was saying, is getting your company in a position to be scalable, to be acquirable, and to be recession proof, if you will. John, you want to define on this a little bit further?
Sure. So, where to become successful on this is let's look at what happens to the most of the industry. Owners, I'm an owner, I own a building, own multiple properties. And my biggest worry is when I get a roofing contractor in to take care of my building and fixing leaks, that their ultimate goal is how quickly can we get a re-roof out of me? And that is really the
Yeah.
mentality. If you work with enough facility managers, they'll tell you that. So what makes this the most successful is when you're going in and you're getting them on board with this plan. You're managing their data, which is so important. You're helping them out with budgets. And more importantly, your goal, if you're following this correctly, is not how quickly can we get the re-roof. Your goal is showing the owner how they can get the most bang or the most money out of every dollar that they're spending to extend this life. And then when they understand why this cycle repeats, when it does come time and no longer we can maintain it and it does have to be replaced, now by being on this cycle, we're showing them how much more they get out of a proper new roof installation to get even greater value out of it in length, because it has to be a return on investment.
Right. Yeah, it is an investment. And so by explaining that, then, you're showing the owner that value. And sorry about that. I was having some audio issues too. I don't know.
No,
There's
it's
little
all good.
gremlins out, it's
They're
super.
everywhere today. Yeah.
All
Well, and
right.
with this too, we talk a lot about when we look at the life cycle, there's a concept we like to try and promote is becoming your customer's roofing department, right? Of make it to where it's not just a commodity relationship. Oh, I have a leak, come fix it. It's that communication, it's that collaboration, it's building that trust with the customer to where when they have roofing needs, they go to you for everything, for replacements, for maintenance agreements, for repairs that need to be done. It's when they go buy new buildings, you want to be positioned as your customer's roofing department. And that's just the ultimate goal of the life cycle is to just increase the relationship with your customers.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Because it's all about that relationship. If you are their go-to, they know you, they can
Right.
trust you, and yeah, who are they going to call when they have an issue or they buy a new property? They're going to call you.
Exactly.
Yeah, very, very good. Okay, so we've been talking about, the technology, and it could be a little bit confusing to folks when they see Jobba on your hat, Zach, and then
Yeah,
they see FCS in this roofing life cycle that we've been talking about. So maybe you
totally.
can give us a little bit of that history and how these platforms differ and why.
Absolutely. So FCS initially started, and I'll kind of tell the whole story. We started FCS in 2008, 2009, and it was brought in because of an opportunity with the post office with USPS. They had a big roof management initiative where they wanted to have inspections done on all their facilities, and then they wanted repair work done, but they needed consistent data. And they, at the same time, thought it would make sense that a local contractor should be the one that takes care of the local post office. So we got involved and started building out what was just initially an inspection application to where any contractor could walk through these steps, print out a report, and USPS would get an inspection or roof report that had the data they needed in the right format. And the issue was at the time, this was just right when iPhones were even becoming a thing. They didn't believe that roofing contractors would use an iPhone up on the roof. They're like, no way, it'll never happen. And so we went and we met with contractors, very big name contractors, and they filled out these forms that said, yes, if I was awarded post office work, I would use a consolidated system. And ultimately, what ended up happening is they went with a national contractor. We weren't awarded the job, and it was kind of defeating. But those roofing contractors that we met with said, we have customers of our own, or there's plenty of other customers that'll benefit from that same model, having consistent data no matter who does the report. A lot of these big contractors either use subs all across the country for national accounts they have, or they have locations everywhere. There's all kinds of different models. And so we ended up going to market, which was FCS stands for Facility Control Systems. It's just converted since then. It was initially supposed to be a tool for property managers. And then at that point, we focused on and shifted gears and went to the roofing industry to go directly to contractors to enable them to, better communicate with their clients. And it came up to a point until about 2015, 2016, where we kind of hit a glass ceiling of what we could do on our own. And, had a private equity get involved to take us to the next level, which then converted the company to be Jobba Trade Technologies as the parent company. And FCS as a product still existed. It was still a software solution. It's like how, Microsoft has Xbox and they have computers and, they have all these different solutions. Or Intuit, they do QuickBooks and then they have payment solutions. And, these companies that, oh, the software company itself has different products. So FCS roofing software is a product of Jobba Trade Technologies. And then at that time, through the need of our customers and things people had been asking for, Jobba Trade Technologies started developing an additional software product called Jobba. So Jobba is another software solution that we offer. That's more of an enterprise level solution. FCS is great for contractors that need built-in SOPs or that, want to do the life cycle model and are looking for a direction. They want something that's a little more predefined and out of the box. And what we do with our Jobba solution is a lot more custom of a rollout where we're going to define things based on the contractor's needs. It's much more involved. Basically looking at it as much more of like an ERP system than just a tool or a solution for your business. And so, now Jobba Trade Technologies offers these multiple different products. And then we actually even have a product called BidPad that's a version of a light version of FCS effectively. So for Jobba Trade Technologies, we offer different solutions to roofing contractors with a goal of being able to help any contractor of any shape or size or position that their business is in. So, hopefully that clarifies, any of the confusion with that. It's Jobba Trade Technologies is the software development company, and we have all these different roofing product solutions.
Yeah, it certainly does help. And it the way I'm hearing you say this is FCS really is a good platform for somebody just getting started
Yeah,
into the service and maintenance. And then you kind of graduate from there,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
When you're ready.
exactly.
Yeah, and FCS is one of the OGs that's been
It's been
around
around a long
for
time.
a while. When did it
Yep, yep.
actually roll out?
That 2008, 2009, that
Yeah.
towards the end of 2008, early 2009.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's crazy. And technology has changed so much. Like you
It
said,
has.
iPhones
Yep,
were just coming out
yep.
and everything's mobile now and everything's in the cloud and so easy. Very cool.
And
Okay.
and that's a big thing too that FCS has been around for a while, and that's why Jobba Trade Technologies recently invested in updating FCS as well. We have our
Yeah.
new release of FCS called FCS Amplify. That is, we have customers doing early access now, and is available openly starting in November. So we're very excited about that to bring a lot more of the modern technology into this product.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's exciting because
It is. Yep.
it's easy to just say, it works. Let's keep,
Exactly.
it's fine,
Exactly.
but innovating and keeping up with technology is just so important. So that's
You have
exciting to
to. You
hear.
have to. Technology is developing at a rapid pace. We look at what's happening just in the consumer market or in the rest of the world, and things are moving quick, and
Yeah.
so you've got to be able to keep up.
Yeah, for sure. Things do move quick.
Mm,
It is hard to keep up. So
big
kudos
time.
to you guys.
Yep.
All right. So let's talk about the pain points that
Totally.
FCS helps contractors solve.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it depends on where you're focused, right? I mean, pain points, I can touch any part of a roofing company. If you need help managing your customers better, if you need help getting inspection reports out the door quicker, or managing your service department, or getting better insight on roof replacements, or estimating, or drawings, or, safety documentation, we have a little bit of everything, right? So the big thing we want to focus in though, if we really break that down into like our three uniques or our three primary items, is one, we aim to help bridge the gap between your field and your office. Bridge the gap between communication, between documentation, getting photos back and forth. Two, we want to give you consistency in your data, being able to have everything in one place, have everything you need, the history about this building, in one location, and then ultimately being able to provide better solutions to your customer, right? Being able to provide professional, consistent reports, being able to give them status updates on service calls, daily project report, daily progress reports on roof replacement projects. So I would say those are the big things: is efficiency internally, bridging the gap between the field and the office, and being more professional when it comes to working with your customers.
Yeah. John, I'd like you to maybe comment about there's contractors out there that have tried to establish or grow their service and maintenance program and they haven't found success or they're not making money. What are some of the reasons why? I'm sure technology is one of the biggest reasons why because they're not leveraging it, but any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, so and biggest problem with not leveraging technology is that you're probably not running the core portion of your business in the proper flow you should be anyway. So it's no different. Like I like to look at any software. It is a fantastic tool that will work very well. And the nice thing that we're going over here today is the flow that you're going to get as Zach was explaining through the software. But if you don't have that same flow and the same workflows and the same SOPs and the processes within your company, it is be a very painful way of going, and you will fail. Not that you might, you absolutely will. So the nice thing is you can do that. So it's a long, and I can speak from being through this process in 2010 and getting all the way the same way and understanding it. It's very, very painful. So rollout is so important. The biggest mistake that I see being made by contractors is trying to do everything at once. The best way that I found to do this is to take your tech team and get one tech team following the whole procedure, not just the techs, but the admin, and of course your service manager, whatever your organizational structure may happen to be. And when you get that process down pat, and being documented with inside the software and using that to the fullest, the rollout becomes so simple after that. Just like dominoes, one except instead of falling down, we're picking them up one at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. Very well
And
said.
John's done this too. He was a longtime user of FCS and rolled this out across, the roofing companies he's been at in the past. And, he hits it right on the head. It's all about the rollout. It's all about having processes and making sure you're aligned. You can't just get a software and think it's going to fix everything, right? You've got to have the processes in place to support it.
Right. And you've got to have the team on board too.
Right. Oh,
Because
buy-in's huge.
yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are like, yeah, we've always done it
Yeah.
this way. And I like my paper and file folders.
Totally. Well, and people, I see it all the time. People get excited and want to get in and jump in and, start using every little piece right off the bat. And a big part of the success is making sure you set the system up and get everything defined correctly ahead of time. So implementation is just a big part of the success of these things.
Sure. And you guys provide a
We do.
support team to help do
That's
that, right?
correct. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk. We talked a little bit about this, or I did
Hmm.
earlier, not realizing I jumped ahead a couple of slides.
No, it's
But,
okay.
this is like really a good entry point.
Right.
And so maybe you can take a look at how this evolves with the roofing company as they grow and
Absolutely.
evolve.
So like we talked about before with the life cycle earlier on, right? That the system is set up to be offered in modules where you can start out with our entry level and get started with BidPad and just use bits and pieces of it, and you can naturally evolve. I see it happen with my customers every single day where they get started and just want to create better reports. And, then it comes into they want to do like daily reports and do daily progress on their roof replacements, or now that you're doing roof inspections and you're starting to sell some repairs, now you want to start managing the repairs and you need scheduling and dispatching and invoicing. And so that's a big part of it, is that the way our programs are sold are in modules and in pieces so that you can enter in at whatever phase you're at with your company and then have it scale with you, even up to, years down the line. And you need more of a custom solution, that's when you can start to look at some of our other products we offer. So that's always been a big thing for us. We throughout the years have always sold or offered FCS as a module based program where you can start here. And even if someone wants to purchase the entire thing, right? We get that sometimes where it's like, just give me everything. We try and we try and be very strict on, you know, that's fine, but you're gonna roll it out in phases. You can't just try and bite this off and think you're going to change everything overnight. These implementations are months, half a year to a year sometimes, to really do it correctly and to make sure that you're defining your processes as you go and they match what you're trying to do. So that's a big part of it is we want to be able to work with customers and have them grow with us. And we've seen it throughout the years. We've got customers that have started here and ended up here and a lot of times they love to talk about it. So we just try and help in any way, shape, or form that we can.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely don't want to try to do everything at once because then
No,
you're going to fail, and then
right.
your entire team is going to be like, "No,
And then get
it
burned
didn't work
out.
the first time. Yeah, we're
Right.
not doing it again." So just a quick question on BidPad. Is that
Hmm.
something that a contractor would take an iPad or a tablet onto the
Correct.
roof during the inspection
That's
to
correct.
develop an estimate?
That's correct. Yep, they're able to go out and walk through, manage your pictures. You can set up templates. It's basically BidPad is a light version of FCS. It takes some of the core components of FCS, like the inspection module, and a light version of the CRM and the quick bid tool. And the intention is just to have your tablet and go out and once you've got it all set up and done the work on the back end to build out your templates, where you can just go through and produce a report or a bid to your customer right then and there, either on screen, on tablet, which is more common in like a residential application of it, or just being able to get the PDF report and email it right off to your customer. So I would say that's like our entry level point is with BidPad.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So let's talk about the future of
Yeah,
FCS roofing software. I looked like you
absolutely.
had a new logo there on that one slide
We
earlier.
did, yes, yes. So like we had talked about, we've been around for a long time and you got to stay fresh and you got to stay modern, right? So coming in and designing new logos and new brochures and documentation and doing everything we can to keep that product modern and up to times. And we touched on it a little bit earlier too with Amplify, the new version of FCS that enables a lot of new functionality, streamlining the way that the existing system works, just to make things easier and more accessible, and being able to enable that system to set up some like back-end API integrations so you can work with other systems. And we're very excited. Our team's been working very hard on this Amplify release, and we've been getting amazing feedback so far.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I love it. Amplify is a word I'm hearing a lot lately from a lot of
Yeah,
different, I think it's kind of a new buzzword and
yeah.
it's taking it, but you're just making it better.
Exactly, exactly. And that's the intent. Taking something that's already successful and already great and amplifying it, right? And you got to do
Yeah.
the hand motion. You got to amplify.
Right, amplify,
You know.
right?
Yeah.
For sure. So I want to talk a little bit about the reporting and the data and the
Yeah,
insight that these tools can provide because
totally.
data is another buzzword, right? That we're hearing
It's a big
from,
one.
yeah, from data centers, from looking at your data, from understanding your data. So
Hmm.
how does a tool like FCS help contractors understand, are they making money? Are certain crews more profitable than others and
Oh yeah.
why? Like, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's about access to the data, right? Data's it's only so good as what gets entered. So that's a big part of when I say things like bridge the gap between the field and the office. Like the way FCS operates, for example, is in our service module, when we're running a service ticket, say it's a time and material service ticket, for example, the system will just naturally through the tech using the mobile side will track a technician's travel time, the time spent to labor. It'll ask them to enter the materials they used. And as far as the technician's concerned, they're just walking through the steps to complete the work order. But on the back end, to the office, to ownership, to the service manager, to the executive teams, it's creating these reports that allow you to be able to see profitability on time, on labor, on material, being able to see maybe this guy's spending too long. Maybe, if his labor margins are low, maybe he needs better training on how to do these repairs. Or if the material margins are really low, maybe he's too wasteful with the materials. And data enables access to make better decisions in my mind. And so that's the importance of making sure you have a system in place that matches your business model so that you can get all the long-term benefits, so that it's providing relevant data that you need to be able to see, like job costing and job profitability, or how your salesmen are doing, their close ratios, if you're winning bids, if you're losing opportunities, maybe a relationship with like a GC never turns out to be fruitful, but you don't know if it's not documented, right? And so that's the importance of trying to have as much as you can inside these platforms and getting your whole teams to across your organization to adopt and to utilize it so that you can make decisions for your business based on the data that it's giving you back.
Yeah, definitely. And I know, John, I'm going to ask you to chime in here because there are times where I know somebody's using a technology or they're using a tool and they know it's got some reports in there, but they're worried about the day-to-day operations. And do you hear contractors often say, "Wow, I didn't know it did that," or "I didn't know that I could get this kind of intelligence from this software that I'm using"?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, all the time. Not utilizing to fullest extent. So, like you said, data being a buzzword, when you hear today, data is considered to be the new oil boom, right? The new petroleum. And when you think about it, let's start the very early parts of thinking about it. What is oil coming out of the ground unless you do something with it? Absolutely
Mm.
nothing, right? Data is the same way. It's just a big pool sitting there. You can't do it. What's really nice about taking this, let's take, for example, touch more on what Zach was saying. I'm the contractor. There's certain things that are very important to me. Response time, I can track that. I can track callbacks. A lot of roofers wish they could, but with this, you can track your callbacks, which will help you train your techs as you need be, right? The other thing is not only profitability on time and material work, but profitability and how are we selling and our upselling our techs are doing in there. All that data is there. So another way to look at this also too is better customer service. You know what tickets are already assigned out to your technicians, and you're able then, if an emergency comes up, you know who's the closest to that without even questioning it, and being able to reassign and move things around fairly easily with schedule boards and all the other things that are available within the software. So this now takes that data that's just data and allows you to get it. And the big buzzword, and I hear this all the time when I'm teaching people over, is, well, what are all the KPIs I need? You don't
Yeah.
need any more KPIs than what you need to run your business profitably.
Yep.
We just went through a few right there. Callbacks are essential,
Yep.
profitability, how much per truck, the type of material that I need to carry based upon the workload and the type of work my techs, all of it's there. And if you really want to go even further, the data's there. You just take it out as far as you'd like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Another big thing I'll say about data too is when you look at being a roofing contractor, that's become so we deal with a lot of, and I personally deal with a lot of private equity groups that are acquiring roofing companies and doing roll-ups. And a big thing I find with them too is getting into a position where the roofing customer at the end of the day has started to get into a mindset of selling data to the property managers, the building owners. You're selling data, you're selling access to data because the building owners, the roofing customers use this data to make their decisions. So when you do things like utilize our customer portal or track repair history and build the roof facts, if you will, about a building, you're just increasing your value that much more. I mean, we have a lot of our customers that train their salespeople that your job's not to sell roofing anymore. You're selling access to data. You're selling data, and that comes at some of the most successful contractors level. Some of the biggest ones in the industry. But you can do that on any scale. Any contractor can get into that mind frame, and it may take some teaching, it may take some learning, but at the end of the day, we're all just selling data.
So true, so true. And it's powerful. And
Yeah.
so, I always encourage everyone to attend an industry trade show, an
Oh
event,
yeah.
attend the classes, talk to the vendors on the show floor, stop by the Jobba booth because you guys are at all the shows too,
Oh
and
yeah.
have these conversations because we're always learning every day. So, hey, let's talk more about Java and FCS and
Sure.
how people can connect with you.
100%. Yeah, the big thing is, the first one here is webinar series. So John and I actually have been doing the FCS Lifecycle webinar series over the last few months. Our next one is on the last stage of the life cycle, about roof replacements. Now will be coming up in early December. So keep an eye out on social media and our emails and subscribe to that if you want to receive those notifications. But doing this life cycle series, and because the life cycle repeats, we'll probably repeat the life cycle webinar series a couple times. Don't want to beat it to death, but it's good. Not everyone can always make every session, but and then every single day I'm doing demos with contractors. I have 5 of them today alone. It means I'm meeting with 5 different contractors and going on. And it's not just get on and hey, here's how our software works. Do you like it? I really try and spend time with each customer and understand, like, what are you looking for? What are your business objectives? What are your goals? Because I have tons of software. I can throw all kinds of tools at you, but what do you need for the company? What are your objectives? What are you trying to do? And so I'm always happy to get on and do these demo sessions with people, or, feel free to reach out to me, and you can go on our website and request a demo, and we'll reach out and get a time set up to take a look at how we can help your business. And, like I said, we're updating all our information. So I've got life cycle documentation, I've got brochures, we've got videos, we have all kinds of stuff. So we always just do the best we can to try and get this information out there to people.
Yeah, and so Zach, we're about 15 minutes or 10 minutes or so
Yeah.
till we want to wrap up. I would love if you could give us a little preview of Amplify.
Yeah. No problem. Give me one
And,
second. I'll get logged in here,
and while you do that,
and
I'm
then
going
we'll
to
pull that
reset
up.
my audio.
There you go. Fun. Let's go ahead and pop this up. I'll get logged in, and then I'll take over the screen share so that everyone can see. All right,
Excellent.
fantastic. So you'll notice as right as you log into FCS, it's for our existing customers. They'll have the option up here at the top to try the new look and try Amplify out. A couple big things that pop up is this master search bar, the ability just to come in and search by a customer name, a building name, an address, a phone number, an email, just right there at your fingertips. So being able just to come in and search through your records. You'll also notice the ability to change your navigation menu over on the left. We have a couple different views people can utilize if you like kind of our original icon view, or our toolbox view up at the top. So handful of different views that customers are able to kind of customize their experience, and what they like to see out of that. Also, this new function with the ability to do quick service dispatches, being able to go in and just initiate a work order, and it's going to pull up where you could just search the customer name and initiate the work order, which is streamlines that process and takes it down even quicker. That we're extremely excited about. When you go in and log into FCS, you're able to go in and kind of see a highlight of the new navigations, and we'll actually pull up. Show you one of the new records here too. If we'll go in and let me move this out of the way here. We'll go and get to the new menu bars. Also added more detail on the homepage when you initially log in. We talk about data, but being able to see overviews of each of your departments from sales, service, into production, is a very exciting item. But if we go in, let me find a good record here, and we'll go in and kind of show you what the new pages look like, and give a preview for that. There we go. So our new property page, which you'll notice is kind of laid out like more like modern systems with the left panel overview. And so where I am right now is, we'll say this is our customer ABC property management. And you'll notice as you're navigating through up across the top, you have all these different options, from being able to go in and see this customer's properties, or see the service history, the production history, go into your estimates. And if I want to look at one of these buildings, I can just click right into the building, and it's going to pull up a preview showing that there's active maintenance agreements, there's active roof warranties. I could just dispatch a service ticket right from here, but then I can go and actually click into the record and have the new layout. And excuse this, it's just from us doing testing all the different sections. But when I now click on this building right here from this page, everything that we need to know about this building is readily available. These are all the different roof sections associated with the property, showing that we're including them in the reports that we generate. I can come down and initiate a work order. I can go in and edit these aerial images, or change the section outlines, or look at all the active roof deficiencies. If I want to go and say, what are the active repairs on section 1? I can go in and click add and edit deficiencies, choose section 1, and all of the roof repairs that exist would show up right there on that property. So, just quick highlights of some of this new stuff to be able to modernize the system and bring a nice look and feel to our customers. A big part of it was trying to streamline navigation and make things a lot easier for people to access. So we're really excited about that. There's other reports that'll come up too that I can pull up. One of the ones we were talking about is like service profitability. That's a really big report that we're big on, that I like to show off during my demos. But like opportunity reports, going in and be able to see when leads are coming in and put data and put opportunities through your lead funnels to it turning into quotes, it turning into sales. And then it'll actually create a master sales activity report that you can access to see salesmen and their close ratios and all the deals that they're working on. Being able to go into service and go in and look at all your service tickets. These would be all the work orders that you guys have for this specific property, or you can access the work orders from the dispatch board over here on the left, which has a nice new look and feel to it too, with this color coding for the status of each of the service jobs and being able just to quickly identify where a service ticket is at. In its life cycle, from when it gets initially dispatched to when it's been scheduled to when the work's in progress, all the way through invoicing. And customers can receive these notifications as well to help increase that communication. So, just a quick little preview. I know we need to get to some of the Q&A here as well, but just wanted to kind of highlight this new updated version that we're really excited about.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. John, is this the first time you're seeing it?
Yeah, this is my first preview. Looks really good.
Yeah, I like the concept of the dashboard, with that quick snapshot of what's going on and where things stand. So I love it. I love it. Yeah, so we have a couple minutes left. If you do have questions, I'm gonna quick check the chat. I didn't see anything coming in. And let me check the Q&A. All right, you guys did such a great job explaining everything that there were no questions. So good job. And if you do think of something later, if you're watching this and you have a question, just reach out to Jobba. They have a full directory on Roofers Coffee Shop with links and information of how to get in touch with them, and Zach's happy to talk to you. And I want to thank Jobba and FCS for sponsoring this RLW. Zach, it's always great to have you and John on as guests. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, always great to be here.
Thank you. And thanks everybody out there for watching. Like I said, this will be available on demand on our site within 48 hours. So you can see it there and share it with everyone you think would benefit from watching this. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone, for being here. We'll see you on a future webinar, we hope. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.